Ladies and gentlemen, what we're looking at is, in front of you, the Chapter 6, it's called a pre-quest, but whatever, it's a review sheet, same thing. All right, so for number 1 on your sheet, so for number 1 on your sheet, we're looking at a line with an open circle, and it's pointing to the right. So we're going to go through that.
Hold on, what? Oh, clear my phone.
So we see an open circle over what number? Oops. We see an open circle over -4 with a line pointing to the right. So we know we're going to have something with x and -4. X is bigger than -4. Why is it not greater than or equal to? Because it's not closed. Okay, let's look at the second one. What does the second one say? We've got a closed circle over what?
X is less than or equal to.
X is less than or equal to 8. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's try some on our own. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at number 3. Okay, for number 3, we've got x minus 3 is greater than 9. So what's the first thing I have to do, Tyler?
Add.
I'm sorry, if your name is Tyler, you can answer. Otherwise, you need to be quiet.
You got, it's going to be x minus 3 is greater than 9 and x minus 3. Right? You add it.
You just add 3 to both sides, and you get x is greater than 12, and then you simply graph it. So, Tyler, what kind of problem are you doing? You gave me 2 answers. What kind of problem do we give 2 answers to? When it has what on it? So we help them out. When do we have 2 answers? When we do absolute value. When we do absolute value. You're doing an absolute value one. That's not what we're doing. All right, I'm also going to do number 4. X over -4 is less than 9. So how do I get rid of that -4 on the bottom? Multiply. I multiply both sides by a -4. What happens when I multiply by a negative? You change the inequality. Then I have my graph. X is greater than -36. Okay, let's try some on our own.
How did you do that?
Let's look at 1 or 2 from 8 through 13, and then I want you to do the rest of those on your own. Just like I also want you to do 5 and 6 on your own. So let's look at number 8. Okay, so the first thing I would do is distribute. Multiply everything by that -4. So we get -4n plus 11 is greater than -4n minus 24. And then what do I do? Yeah. Oh, less than. Thank you. So what do I do to get it by itself? Combine like terms. So I've got to get the ends all on one side. Uh-oh, what happens? Is 11 less than -24? No, so this is no solution. If it was a true statement, what would the answer be? Good. Okay, let's do one more. Which other one looks hard? Which one do you want to do?
Number 7.
Oh, you want to do the story problem? Okay. Number 7. A weaver spends $420 in supplies to make wall hangings and plans to sell the wall hangings for $80 each. Write and solve the inequality that gives the possible numbers W of wall hangings the weaver needs to sell in order to make a profit positive. So how much money do they need to sell to make a profit positive? It has to be more than what? How much does she spend on supplies? 420. So it has to be, so she has to spend more than $420. And each wall hanging costs 80, and we'll call them W. Okay. And then we're just going to divide. Somebody got a calculator? How many times does 80 go into 420? Oh, 420 divided by 80. There's like 5 people in here that have calculators. 420 divided by 80 gives us $5.25. So the number of wall hangings she sells has to be more than 5.25. Okay. All right, so let's try some of these on our own. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the story problem on the back. Yeah, we'll do both of them. We're going to do 14, 16, 18, 21, 22, and 24. Okay, the architect is planning a rectangular garden centerpiece for a mall. She decides the width should be 5 feet more than 1/2 of some value x, while the length will be 10 feet. If the total area of the garden is at most 150 square feet, find the value of x. So we know that area is what? Length times width, right? So we know length times width equals area. Well, I can already replace the area. It has to be 150 feet. And my answer has to be less than or equal to 150, right? Okay. What is my length? Can I replace that? What's the length of it? She decides the width should be... She decides the width should be 5 feet more than 1/2 of some value x, while the length should be 10. So length is 10. We're going to multiply 10 by 5 feet more than 1/2 some value x. So half the value x plus 5. Okay? So I'm going to multiply, I'm going to distribute. 10 times 1/2 is 5. Plus 50 is less than or equal to 150. I'm going to subtract 50 from both sides. I get 5x is less than or equal to 100. I divide both sides by 5. X will have to be less than or equal to 20. Does everybody feel pretty confident that once you get the equation, you can find the answer? Yeah. Okay. It's getting the equation that's the hard part? Yeah. All right, let's look at number 16. 16, we've got -2, 6. It's a closed circle over -2, open circle over 6, and the lines are pointing towards each other. So we should have x is what than -2?
X is greater.
X is greater than
Equal to. And x is what of 6? Less than 6. Okay. All right, let's try one like that. Let's look at number 18. For 18, we've got -8x is less than -40, or x plus 13 is less than 8. So we already know from the or that the arrows are going to point which way? Away. Tyler, you have a question?
But if I know how to do it, where do I know? I just write the answers.
Yeah, that's fine. You divide both sides by -8. What happens when you divide by negative?
You gotta change the sign.
Change the inequality to the other way. Subtract 13 from both sides. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. X is less than -5. And then make sure you graph. You know you did it right if the arrows are facing away from each other. So x is greater than 5, and x is less than -5. Let's try one on our own. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and look at 21. 21 is 4 absolute value x minus 2 equals 44. Okay, first of all, do we have everything is inside the absolute value, or do we have anything outside? Outside, so we got to get rid of that 4. So we divide by 4. Yes. X minus 2 absolute value equals 11. Now you got to split it. X minus 2 equals 11, and x minus 2 equals negative 11. Okay. Any questions about ones like that? Okay, let's do the story problem quickly. The jogger is returning to practice after a long absence. To start, she walks 7 minutes out of every 10, and she will deviate at most 1/2 a minute. What is the maximum and minimum time that she will spend walking every 10 minutes? So I want you to try to set up that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have, she starts to walk 7 out of every 10 minutes, and she will deviate at most 1/2 a minute. What is the maximum and minimum time she will spend walking 10 minutes? Okay? Deviate means she will go less or more than 1/2 a minute. So this is your whole thing where you have the absolute value of the middle equals the deviation. So what is the middle between 7 and 10? Okay, so we've got 7, 8, 9, 10. So the middle is 8.5. And that's all we need to do. Okay? Let's do number 24, and we'll be done. 3 absolute value x plus 4 minus 3, that's it, is less than, it's x minus 8.5 absolute value equals 1/2. Okay, so for number 24, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3. And I get 3 absolute value x plus 4 is less than 24. Then I'm going to divide everything by 3. And I get that absolute value of x plus 4 is less than 8. Now I can split it, right? X plus 4 is less than 8, and x plus 4 is, make sure you switch the sign, greater than negative 8. I'm going to subtract 4 from each side. Subtract 4 from each side. Then you got a graph. You've got negative 12, you've got 4, x is less than 4, x is greater than negative 12, so it's an and statement. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you should be able to do the rest of this on your own. Bring it to me tomorrow along.